Alexa, so if you'll take the bar seat. She's the CEO, proprietor of Sun Wolf General Manager Soul Restaurant. Next we have Sandra McNeil, CEO, Ivy League Consulting Services. Next we have Chef Nicole Tobias Cook, CEO and founder of Tobias Food Company, LLC. Next we have Kelly Yip, CEO, Platinum Realty Group. And next we have Charlotte Carter, CEO, GRI Technology Solutions, Staff and Staffing Services. And we are honored to bring back to the stage our morning speaker, Sister, last name, Attorney Latanya F. Moore. So let's give our entrepreneurial panelists a hand. Are we missing? Who? Oh, my girl, Shaniqua. Where's Shaniqua?
That's what I was about to ask.
I thought she was in the next panel. Shaniqua, where's Shaniqua? So Shaniqua Badger of Entrepreneurial Real Estate Service. She and I have been on many panels together. And so come on up. I think we can all fit. We can all fit. Suck it all in. Shaniqua. All right, now let's give our panelists a hand. Okay, so we've been on panels together, so I know you know how to do this one. Okay, so the rule is, because we have 7 panelists here, we want the 45-second elevator speech of who you are, what you do, 45 seconds, because I have a couple questions, and they want to rack your brain too. So, on your mark, get set, go.
Okay, first, my 45 seconds is gonna be just my name alone. My name is Shaniqua Badger. I am the team lead for the Badger Real Estate Group. We are a team with Entrepreneurial Real Estate Services. I always like to say that I'm a mother, I'm an advocate, I'm a world changer. I love people, I nurture people, I feed into people, and the best way I know how to do that is to help them transition their wealth and create wealth the long way through building legacy wealth through real estate investments. I always also like to say that whether it's your first home or your 50th home, you get the same level of service from me. And I always like to also say that I don't do it for today, I do it for tomorrow. My tomorrow and my next year and my year after that is in the crowd with me today. Kaylee is here with me today, so my unlicensed assistant. But I'm happy to be here, thank you.
Hi, my name is Latanya Moore. I work with legacy-driven entrepreneurs to help them grow, develop, and protect their brand to create generational wealth and build a legacy for their family.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Carter. I am the CEO of GRI Technology Solutions, IT consulting, software development, and staff augmentation in the US and Canada, San Mateo and Toronto to be specific. Also the founder of a new upcoming, hopefully, fingers crossed, mobile app for diabetes. It's an AI, artificial intelligence glycemic index app that we're working on, so hoping to get that out soon. And I'm a mother of 4, grandmother of 1, and wife, so love Creole cooking, so that's kind of a little bit about me.
Hi, my name is Kelly Yip. I'm the real estate mortgage and real estate mortgage broker for Platinum Realty Group. I'm also a director and ambassador for the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce. I am the board member and incoming president of the Rotary Club. And recently I was elected as the Milpitas School Board trustee.
Hello, my name is Nicole Kamani Tobias Cooks. I brand myself under the name Chef Tobias Cooks. I still use my maiden name Tobias to give homage to my grandmothers, my great-grandmothers, my great-aunties, who were all chefs and bakers. The reason why I became a CEO is because I'm owner of La Dolce Vita, Bakery Eats, Bakery, also owner of Cannoli pop-up events, also owner of Chef Tobias Cooks Radio, also owner of Nicole Tobias Cooks, and I am a wife to that great looking, handsome man back there for 24 years, 4 children.
Wow.
And as being a chef, I often get asked, what do I do? What do I do? Well, I am the new wave of chef because I've taken my experience and what I know and turned it into digital marketing and media. And we also just launched our food company as well. That means we will be packaging, licensing to HelloFresh, Amazon Fresh, and help other chefs to get their products on the shelf.
I want to add to that. She didn't bring my spinach croissants. She made me spinach croissants last year and she promised, so she's going to be
Now we all want spinach croissants. Good afternoon, my name is Sandra McNeil. I have a 2-part human resources. I have 30 years of human resources, left a pharmaceutical company as a director. With that, I created my own consulting business where I help small to medium-sized companies on employment law. So I'm a specialist in employment law. And basically, companies don't know what they don't know. And so I would come in, help them with their infrastructure, especially a very small startup one, and help them set an infrastructure and then move forward as far as the laws that they all need to comply. Now, as five employees or more, there are laws that are required because of Me Too, as far as sexual harassment. And so I can also provide programs for sexual harassment classes for employees and for managers. I also am a certified executive coach, and my specialty is in leadership and career development. For instance, I had one individual who just graduated from college, and she was not getting paid appropriately. I coached her in how to present herself to her employer because of her work ethics. They were really having her do an executive officer type work, but they were paying her like an entry level. We worked together for a good 4 or 5 months, and she walked in and we were expecting 12% increase. She got a 26% increase. She's 24 years old, and so that was just pretty awesome. But basically, I help coach on careers because of my HR background, and I also help leaders.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexa Sol, and I'm the general manager of Quinto Sol restaurant in Redwood City that my parents started about 7 years ago. I'm also fortunate enough to have opened up my own restaurant with my sister and my cousin just recently in the last year. It's called Son of Wolf in Palo Alto. So I'm very excited to join this panel of women and to share some magic, because I think that that's what we're all specialized in.
Very good. So this time I was smart. I have a mic. Oh, and I was getting, okay, stop.
Teresa.
Yes.
Alexa, introduce your mother. The
Go
family.
ahead. Back.
Family matriarch.
Oh yes, Lisa wants me to introduce my mother, Helena Sol. She's actually the most entrepreneurial woman I know.
All right, so since the mic is back to you, we're going to do the same way. I'm going to ask a question and we'll bring it back down this way. The question of the day. As entrepreneurs, I know from experience that you had challenges getting started as a business owner, correct? Please list one challenge you had in starting your business and what that was and what you did to overcome that challenge, or what you're doing to overcome that challenge.
Yeah, just one, just one.
Just one.
Just one.
That's the hard part of being on the big panel. One.
Yes.
So think about it, ladies.
Yeah, no, I thought about this actually very deeply the other night, and I think it is very fitting that we were speaking after these wonderful ladies about mental health, because the first thing that came to mind was a list of many different challenges, but it all fell under the umbrella of the mindset. That the most difficult challenge when you are engaging in an entrepreneurial spirit is your mind, your own mind. And one of my favorite quotes that I was reading this really wonderful book that's called The Power of the Mind. It was, the mind is a wild horse, and to tame it is an art. And your mind can run rampant with a lot of different things. I think fear, doubt, it was all echoed. But when you start to really harness it and to really think about what it is that is bringing all that up and how you can rear it in, it really starts to change a lot of things. Especially one of the mindsets that I had going into this was that you have to be your own hype man when you are starting your own business. You know, you really want to be the one that is pushing and driving, and you are the one that is giving everyone that boost of, you have to believe what I believe in, because that's how it's going to become what it is. And then you also, on that same coin, you have the self-deprecation, the self-defeat attitude of, I'm not good at this is not good enough, look at the people around me, they're doing it better. So there's that two sides of the coin of the self-defeat and the hubris of what can happen in that mindset. And also I think that the mindset of also thinking that you can do it all yourself, which was also echoed by a lot of women, was that you think that you can do it all yourself, or that the people around you can't do it well enough like you. So then you begin to, you know, oh, I'm gonna do it, and you start to push people away that can actually help you, or you disempower the people around you. Just quickly, one of the things that I really found was that I felt at the time that I could do it all myself, and I wanted it to be done perfectly, and I wanted it to be done the way that I wanted it to be done. And in that, I did not give the chance to empower my sister to be able to do what she needed to do. I didn't empower my cousin to be able to do what he needed to do. And slowly, I became a crutch in my own restaurant, because everyone thought, well, she's got it, and she can do it. And you start to see that, wow, the mindset, right? The mindset of that you really have to take a step back and really think about, why am I creating this mindset for myself? And why am I not allowing others to step in and help me? And why am I not either saying, there's so many different things that can be said on this topic, but I really do think that if anything that I can say is the biggest challenge when you are engaging in entrepreneurship is going to be your mindset. And if you can harness that and take care of yourself mentally, then you are in full force.
Very good, thank you. I think I heard the word already, so my one word is fear. And I use that feeling like you know, what are people going to say about what you're doing? What are they going to think? And trying to please people. And being in your head. And trying to move out of your head and into the moment. If you move into the moment, that fear will go away, because the power and the energy that people talk about so far, that it will push you forward, and then you don't care about what people think because they are not basically paying your bills. And so we get so carried away about what people think and feel about what you are doing, but they can't do anything to help you move forward. Only you can. So get out of your mind and your head and just act in the moment and stay in the moment.
One challenge. Mine would be self-worth. And I say that because well, people say African American, I'm black. But as a black girl, born in Oakland, raised in Louisiana, it was people always assumed that I cook soul food, or they always assumed that I make sweet potato pie, or the peach cobbler, the caramel cake, or the gumbo, or the fried chicken, and I do not. That is not the type of chef I am. And I am Black, and I'm a big girl, you know, and I'm very strong. So coming into an industry where it is dominated by white males, and also dominated by Black males, I often face a huge challenge of not only discrimination, but sexism. And the fact that I am educated, I have 3 college degrees. I went back to school when I was 37 years old to be a chef. So I've lived a life before I became a chef. So self-worth for me is I had to really, really dig deep and accept who I was as a chef and be proud of the fact that I do not cook soul food for a living. And also stay strong to when I have to deal with discrimination and I have to deal with sexism. I don't think people really understand how discrimination and sexism is really, really prevalent in our business, especially the culinary world. When you turn on the food channel, you don't see me. When you turn on Netflix, you don't see me. When you go to Barnes and Nobles, you don't see me. So I constantly, people expect for me to prove my worth over and over, and I'll make this quick. I was working at a very prestigious company, Google, and I quit. Because I refused to let someone disrespect me and not see my self-worth. So if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need to know your self-worth. Because your self-worth is going to determine your paycheck, your pay scale, how much you work, how much you take care of your family, how much you take care of yourself. If you don't have self-worth, then entrepreneurship is not for you.
So I think that everyone has challenges and struggles in their lives. It's how you handle it. And when I first started my business, Platinum Realty Group, I was in the middle of a buyout of my other company with 2 other guys. And I was pregnant with my second daughter, and my first one, she was under 2. And I was working on Platinum Realty Group, my marketing piece, how I was gonna start my new business. Well, at 26 weeks into my pregnancy, I bled in the middle of the night. And I got out of bed, I looked back, I said, oh my gosh, it looks like a crime scene. And I went to the bathroom and I said, oh my gosh, is that the rest of my baby coming out? I was scared. My husband took me to the hospital and they put me on bed rest. And my baby was okay, you know. I bled 2 more times at home. On the 3rd time, they admitted me to the hospital. I cried, I felt sorry for myself, and I thought, what am I going to do here in the hospital? So, you know, a few more days later on, I told my husband to bring my laptop in, bring my portable printer in. I turned my hospital bed into my office. I, did my marketing piece. I had my agents coming into the hospital because I was also listing a short sale at the time. So, it sucked looking outside the window. It was raining because it was during winter months. The 4th time I bled, the doctor says, Kelly, we're gonna assemble a surgical team and get your baby out in the morning time. So she came out 3 pounds, 3 ounces, but during that time, in the middle of my, I think it was like after my 2nd bleeding, I was at home and I said, what am I gonna do? Right? We borrowed a wheelchair from my parents. It belonged to my grandfather, so it was an old rusty one. And my husband took me to the hospital, or to the doctors, and I said, hey, we have to make a detour on the way home. I have to file for my DBA, my Doing Business As, Platinum Realty Group. He said, what? You can't do that. I said, well, we're just gonna do a detour and you're gonna push me in that wheelchair. So he pushed me into 70 West Heading and I filed for my DBA And I'm also a notary too, so I had to do my bond. So it was killing two birds with one stone. So I convinced him to do that, right? So I had all these struggles, so, it was against me. And some of you guys know that when you file for your business, you have to advertise it for 6 weeks, right? I didn't want to wait until after I gave birth. I'm on bed rest. So let's just do something about it. So that's what I did. I, had that file while I was on bed rest. I had some people help me here and there, but, for me, how I was going to overcome my challenges. I mean, everybody has challenges. Everybody has, issues. So at nighttime when I can't sleep, I think, what am I going to do the next day? How am I going to do this? How am I going to overcome my challenges? How am I going to overcome, finances? How am I going to overcome, because at that time I also had a child who was under 2, right? So I got my parents to get involved in helping me with my other child. So now I have, 3 kids. I have 12, a 10, and a 7. So I have to make it work. And again, it's just overcoming your challenges, making things work, and you have to be determined, right? When things, God gives you a lemon, you make lemonade out of it, right? That's what they say. So that's what I did, and because of that, I've been in business for over 15 years now, and I run a very successful real estate and mortgage business. I have about 6 agents working for me, and now that I'm also an elected official, I also have to make that blend into my other work. So instead of doing a lot of marketing, I am myself, a marketer. I go there and I talk to people. They know what I do. So that's what I have to say.
Well, I think that there was a number that actually kind of pushed both my husband and I into entrepreneurship, and it was $117 million. And that's what our CEO from IBM was getting as a package. So we looked at each other like, are we ever going to leave IBM with $117 million? And we go, oh, heck no. So what we did is we put a plan together, and our motto was plan to work, work to plan. He was actually a consultant for IBM at the time, and because we know what the rates are, IBM was probably charging him out at $250, $300 an hour, but they were probably only paying him $50 to $60 an hour. So I made the mention, I said, you know what? I said, Sam Palmisano's just pimping you out. He hated that term. And so I said, well, it's true. And I said, do you want to be the pimper or the pimpee? And so we decided that he was going to leave IBM, start his own consulting, and they gave him all sorts of grief about, you can't leave, you signed an NDA, blah, 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 blah. So he resigned because he already had a contract with another bank and a government agency. And that same agency actually that IBM was working for, he cut their rates in half, and he almost tripled his own rates. So he walked out, turned in his badge and his phone and everything, and I'm sorry, not phone, but turned in his badge and his laptop, walked out, his phone rang, and it was IBM wanting to bring him back as a contractor at his rates. So I said, see? so that was part 1 of our plan. Part 2 was, it was 2011 at the time, and well, actually I think we both took a big hit on our 401k from the 2008 debacle. So 2011 we were starting to recover a little bit, but again, that $117 million was searing in my head. And so I started, I came from an HR staffing background. I worked for Sun Microsystems, IBM, Microsoft. So I had a software background and an HR and staffing background. So I actually started doing staffing in conjunction with working at IBM, because what I was doing at IBM wasn't a conflict of interest. So we moved him out of IBM, he started contracting, I started doing a little bit of recruiting on the side. So what we did is we built businesses outside of our own corporate entities, so we'd have something to transition into. 2011, here we are today. We do IT consulting, software engineering. He builds AML, which is anti-money laundering software for banks and government. And so we've built a business and a practice
on both sides of the border in both the US and Canada. So that was basically our hurdle was, getting started. How do we get this thing going? Because when you're working for corporate, you're like, you have golden handcuffs on. You can't leave, you can't. So you have to figure out a plan on how to transition out of there. And that's just been our motto, is plan to work. So you always have to have a plan. And you always have to work the plan. So the plan can't just sit there. You've actually got to make it work, and you've got to follow through on it. So those are basically some of our struggles and how we overcame them.
All right. Again, the question is, what one item did you have to overcome as a brand new business owner?
I think for me, I had to realize that I had to change my lifestyle. When you're used to living a certain way because that paycheck is coming every 2 weeks, right? So if you do like me, which I don't recommend, then you'll continue to live like you did as if that paycheck is coming every 2 weeks, and you'll quickly find that about a year in, you're trying to figure out where the light bill was coming from. So the advice that I would give is, especially for people that are transitioning from corporate America, have a solid financial plan. Do not fund your business with your own money. That includes your 401k, your savings. I see some people grimacing, so when you go home, change that, because clearly somebody is financing their own business. I would say don't do it. Because for me, what happened was I had a big contract with the county government, a 3-year contract that 7 months in, they said we're not renewing it past the end of the quarter. So, I'm a lawyer, right? So I figured you breached the contract. Until I talked to a friend of mine who was a municipality expert that said, well, they didn't breach the contract, the funding isn't there. So if you ever have a contract with a municipality or a government agency, always know that if there's no funding, there's no breach of contract.
Really quickly, I always like to know who I'm speaking to. How many entrepreneurs do we have in the audience? Okay, it's good to know. One of the things that I think is the biggest challenge for me, I've been selling real estate since 2004. Every day I wake up feels new. And one of the things that I'm always having to struggle with is simplifying my business. And I'm going to say that again, is simplifying your business. Because some of y'all got some chaos in your business that is stopping you from creating growth in your business. And when you can't figure out how to create scale in your business, you are running a business. So you have to figure out what are the things that you can do to simplify in your business. For me, I had to literally, I understand economic stuff because I deal with economic stuff on a day-to-day basis. And so now today I'm planning on how to deal with the shift in our economy going into 2019. So I broke my business down to the bones. I don't need a big team. My ego does not need a big team. I had a bad conversation with the ego. Ego, you don't need a big team. I know it looks good in the pictures, but you don't need a big team. You have to figure out where you need to scale in order to grow. If you don't have scale, you don't have growth, right? We sometimes as entrepreneurs, we come out the gate going, hey, we want to look like Facebook. Even IBM and Facebook and HP started off in the garage somewhere. So it's okay if you work outside of your house. You don't need a brick and mortar. And don't let people tell you you need a brick and mortar. Because some of them people don't own a business. They go to work every day. So we have to work on simplifying so we can multiply. So if you simplify your business, you can grow and create scale. That is the best piece of 7-figure advice my coach has ever given me. And I can tell you that was the advice that will help me sustain in any market. Because I'm not afraid to go simple instead of going big right off the bat.
Very good. So, from an insurance standpoint, let me tell you, the premiums for business in the home is cheaper than you being a tenant for somebody else. So if you haven't changed your insurance, let them know you're working out of your home so you can save a couple $100. Okay, we're gonna transition to questions from the audience. So I'm trying to get back to the mic stand. I'm gonna ask you guys, I have a proctor here that's going to control the line like before. And just come on, we're going to take a few questions from the audience.
I have a question for Alexa Soul, because I know you're part of a family-owned business. You know, how difficult is it to keep a family-owned business going and being profitable?
Well, I always joke with my dad that he probably should have had more kids, because that's the only way we can scale, is we have more daughters and more sons running all the businesses. But honestly, I think that's a really wonderful question. The way that I see it is that working with family is very difficult. You go into an agreement and into a contract with people that are either your strangers, friends, co-workers, and you have clear boundaries. And with family, those boundaries can be very blurred, and at times you can bring it home. I think that like relationships can become strained, especially if it's husband and wife teams. Right now I'm in a team with my sister and my cousin, and so we constantly have conversations of when does this end and when does this begin? Just because you need to be able to still have that wonderful relationship with your families. As far as like being profitable in the business, I was fortunate to be able to open up our third restaurant with my parents in Redwood City. So I got to see the whole construction side of starting from the absolute beginning to now. This coming month we're going to be celebrating 7 years. So the biggest thing for us as a family was to be on that same track and to support each other and to be able to find what are the strengths in each of the people that are working side by side, and how can we continue to grow and water that spirit in each and every one of us. My sister is completely different than me. My cousin is completely different than me. When our minds come together, there can be friction, there can be open discussion, but at the end of the day, we all know that there is a clear goal. And I always like to go into business meetings or even conversations with people is, what is the end game in this? Is the end game for you and I to butt heads and that's it, that's the end of the meeting, we just leave and that's all? Or are we starting this meeting talking about one thing and now it has catapulted into a can of worms of a completely different topic, and now we're left flustered and now we're heading to work and not knowing why I even walked into that meeting. So, you know, I think that that's always very, very important to me, is to have, like one of you said, having that plan. What is the plan that we're walking into, and how are we going to execute that plan? Because I think the profits is just going to be, it's going to be a byproduct at the end of the day. But we have to start with the foundation, and for us, luckily, I mean, the foundation is the family. So if you can feed and nurture that, the same thing with teams. I think that if you can feed and nurture your team, because as an entrepreneur, I think that most of the time we don't like the daily grind of work. We like the creation aspect of the work. So if you already know that going into it, then don't get bogged down by the daily routines of everyone. Look at it as the bigger picture. What can I create within the team? What can I create? This spirit, I see this person struggling. How can I create this growth? How can I do this? Because that is your strength. So profits, it will happen. So I can't really speak so much on that, because sometimes I look at it and I'm like, wow, it's happening. You know, and but more than anything, it's the individuals that you're working with. I think that we have to invest in order to really receive the profits.
I'll add a little bit to that. Because we actually had our kids. We have our kids working for us. as well too, and we just struggle with a lot of blurred lines. So what we found out was, unfortunately, you have to have strong contracts in place and strong understanding of what's expected of them and what's expected of us, so that you don't get into these blurred lines. I mean, it's a business. You gotta run it like a business. And so if I hire my daughter to be, our biz dev person, here's your title, here's your salary, here's what's expected in your performance, areas that we're expecting, and as bonuses, this is what we're gonna pay you. So everything really has to be professional, and you really need to have boundaries and guidelines, otherwise it's gonna melt down into something really ugly.
Very good. We have one last question, and we're gonna keep it quick. Go ahead.
My name is Anna Jones, and I'm the owner of a startup here in Silicon Valley that has merged home care for seniors with technology using smartphones. It's a sort of frontier place for both the Department of Social Services and also technology to be able to understand that you are going to use this over the next 10, 20, and 30 years. This is where the business is going. And at the forefront of this, and trying to not only try to find capital funding, seed funding in series, hopefully, to roll out this business, not only here in the San Francisco Bay Area, but throughout the nation. I find this journey, which is in my second year, after still dealing with my technology team, engineers, very lonely at times. Because I'm trying to balance not only my role as a mother, but as an entrepreneur, and as a Black woman who attends most of the idea to IPO meetings that are being held here, right here in our backyard, where it is male-dominated, dominated not only by our white counterparts, but also the male world. So I would be one of probably 10 men, 1 in 10, for every meeting that I've been to since November. And trying to look for the seed funding and capital funding, I find it very lonely. So what is your mantra to women who are actually starting something as CEOs, who have multiple hats that they have to wear?
So I'm gonna let one person speak to this, because guess what? Our next panel is economic, and the first question to them is about funding. So so that is actually the next panel. I have one person. Okay, quick, how quick can you do it?
I can speak to the digital marketing part.
How quick? Okay, so wait a minute. I see one resource for funding. Are you staying to the end? I want you to go see her for one resource for funding.
Mine's digital marketing.
I have one digital marketing.
Good, because I'm coming from a field of food, and people think that you have to go to the restaurant to get food, and that's not true. So what I've been able to do with her, with my business being food, is how can I now be a chef in the future? How now can obviously I can't cook for everyone, so now how can I turn what I do inside the kitchen and move it to 20, 30 years from now, which is digital marketing. So my husband and I, the blogs, the apps, now we're seeing HelloFresh. Now we're seeing Amazon bought out Whole Foods. Now we're seeing people that are ordering their food through the internet. They're ordering meals, the internet. So on that part, by me being a woman chef, and I'm one out of 100 African American women in this country that is an official pastry chef, which is very low. So when I walk into the kitchen, I walk into the room as an executive or sous chef, I only see me, because it's only 100 of us in this country that is pastry chefs. So I'm in a serious male-dominant group. So I have to bring something extra to the table. I have to be at the table, have a seat, and not only that, but have a platform. My platform is digital marketing. Now I'm moving from the kitchen into technology.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Again, it's economics is coming up next. You promised me quick too. Okay. No, Lisa is giving us the Sandman hook. Okay, the Sandman hook. Let's give these ladies a big round of applause. Okay, now here's the deal. You have their pictures and their names. Don't y'all mess me up. She look giving me the evil eye. One contact, quick, so that they can write it in their book.
You can find me anywhere on Google. Google me. So the reality is no one else is going to be Shaniqua Badger on Google, so you can look me up as Shaniqua Badger on Google.
I have my business cards, but you can go to my website, www.latanyamore.com.
Likewise, Google me. There's not a lot of Charlottes out there. You can just say Charlotte, you'll find me.
I have free calendars for everyone at that table. It's a magnet calendar.
You can find me on the network, foodnetworkstar.com. My name is Miss Phil, but everything I do is Chef Tobias Cooks.
I'll leave cards in the back, Ivy League Consulting.
And I'll leave some business cards as well. My restaurant is at sonofwolf.com.
All right, now a hand for our entrepreneurs. Thank you, ladies. I know that we have one more panel, and thank you for asking that question about money, because guess what? We're getting ready to talk about money. How about that?